We got to like $5,000 revenue a month in the first like 6 months.
That's Tanya Van Gastel, who, starting as a side project, helped build, market, and ultimately sell for six figures this year an AI headshot generator service, despite plenty of competition in the space.
This is something that most people kind of get wrong, is that you have to be one of the only ones in the market.
In this video, you'll learn how she found her first customers, the specific marketing tactics that drove over $350,000 in sales, and the ideas that you can take to apply to your own business.
So I remember like the first time we had a huge client, they bought $4,000 of headshots at the same time.
And now, on to the show.
There's so much more market than you'd actually think. Ask your friends, your family, maybe your parents, have they ever heard of an AI headshot generator? It's going to be super likely that they've never even heard of it and that's a potential client, right? So for us, we were kind of surprised. Like, it's so easy to put yourself down and be like, oh, but you're only like the 10th or the 11th or whatever. But still, there are so many potential people out there who could be your client. And we got to like $5,000 revenue a month in the first like 6 months. So for us, that was kind of like, oh, we're onto something here.
Okay. There's a couple things there. The one is the market might be bigger than you think, or there's room for more than a few players here, because the sliver of awareness in this case is so small. And I felt this way in the early days of the Side Hustle show, where it's like, there's already dozens of entrepreneurial interview podcasts. Does the world really need another one? But the sliver of listenership at that time was pretty small. And so like as more and more people became aware that podcasting was a thing, they could listen to it on their commute, while they're at the gym, while they're walking the dog, the rising tide of that tended to grow, or lift all boats, or to mix metaphors and stuff. So maybe the same thing is happening here. There's this a little bit of market awareness as more and more people come, hey, AI headshots are a thing. Like, let's see what's out there.
It's absolutely true. I think there's two things happening here. The first is that like a lot of people, I think strategically or intuitively feel like, oh, in order to become the number one, I need to do all of these things. But here's a mindset shift. You don't actually need to be the number one to make a really good living for yourself, right? Like, what does that mean, being the number one? Are you trying to get to like $1 billion? Are you just trying to like provide for yourself, your family, your loved ones? And for us, it was very much the latter, especially when we were starting. For us, it was really about like, okay, how can we build something on our own terms, not work an insane amount of hours, which is not what happened, but like ideally not work an insane amount of hours and still live a really great life, and also build this product that we're really passionate about. And so in order to do all of that, you don't actually need to be the only one on the market, right? You can get really far building a product that makes like $10,000 a month. And that is absolutely not impossible. And you definitely do not need to be the only player in the market to do that. And I would say, secondly, depending on kind of like what kind of product you have, for us, we started as a B2C product, but then we moved into B2B, where we had bigger package sizes. So I remember like the first time we had a huge client, they bought $4,000 of headshots at the same time, because they bought many for their own internal teams. And so that was a huge wake-up call for us that we need to actually go into this B2B segment, because we only need to convince one decision maker and they can actually buy 400 headshots at once instead of needing to convince 400 people.
Yeah, I would love to get into that positioning. And so maybe that is part of the segmentation or niching down of the market, to say, well, we're not for everybody. We're the go-to place for really professional headshots and for corporate clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's part of why you got your like shirt and tie and blazer in your photos. We didn't want to focus on things like casual photos or like dating AI photographs and stuff like that. But we really felt that would water down our value proposition, and that wouldn't help us attract really the clients that we wanted. And you can price that very differently as well. When you say, I am only focusing on this, and you show that in your product, it's super beneficial for your pricing strategy. And you can just be very clear about the kind of thing that you want and don't want and what you focus on in your marketing.
Yeah, it's scary to do at the time. We were like, oh, I'm
It
gonna
is.
kind of turn myself away from all these other potential customers to focus over here, and hopefully
Yeah.
that pays off down the road. Now, how technical are you? How technical do you have to be to build something like this? It's like it looks really slick interface. It looks pretty cool, but it's like I don't know. I mean, I've heard of like Midjourney and other AI, image generators. I guess you can do it in ChatGPT now too, but like to do that at scale and to be able to intake other people's images, like what's going on behind the scenes here?
We launched in like April 2023 and we launched with three co-founders. So for me, I'm a completely non-technical person. My background is really in marketing, is actually specifically in PR. And so I didn't know anything about it. Luckily, one of my co-founders was an engineer, and so he built a platform from scratch, one engineer. And so
Okay.
that is something that was possible, right? So I think whenever we're looking at like AI products or AI platforms, every single year it's become so much easier to build platforms like that. And 2 years ago, it was already possible to build something with just one person, whereas like a couple of years before that, it was not. And I think even now you can actually build a lot of tools like that with no code tools like, your Lovable. Pickaxe is another really great one. And actually, last year I built, as a learning project, I built a mental health app called Capybara Affirmations that got like 10,000 users within like the first month. And that was completely as like a non-technical person. So I think you can build a lot of things as a non-technical person these days, but ideally you keep it super niche, super clear value proposition. And as a bootstrap startup, you always want to go monetization first. Think small and then later you can think big.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Like are these technical hurdles are getting lower and lower and lower, and
Yeah.
so if you figure that out, or ask the coders, ask the coding machines to do it for you, to build you a prototype, and go from there. Let's talk about this path from zero to the $5,000 a month within 6 months. What was going on the marketing side to get those first customers through the door?
Oh my God. We were in a pinch. So I already mentioned that I kind of came from like a tech marketing background where my whole career was really about like headcount, budget, potentially like managing an external agency. And so now I was there trying to figure out how we can actually build something with no budget, no headcount, literally just me and an internet connection. And so we did a couple of things, or I did a couple of things. I spent all of my free time getting banned by Reddit. I kept making new accounts and commenting and posting about our product. And that's actually how we got our first like $500 in like revenue through users who would find us on there. And that was such a magical moment of, oh my God, like I'm talking to strangers on the internet and it's actually working.
Okay, so what's an example of a thread that you would comment on?
It's a bit embarrassing to see, to be honest. But it'd be like, oh, well, I like if people would say something about like headshot, and I would literally spend every day Googling headshot Reddit AI and then seeing if there's like a new person making a thread about it. And then I'd be like, oh, hey, I'm the founder of, would you like to try us out? Or I'd be like, hey, Multiverse, you can create headshots with this kind of product. And so 2 years ago, you could still add a link to your Reddit comments and people could just immediately click in on that.
Yeah.
Now you just immediately, I think, get banned. So it's become a lot more complicated, but you can still do it. You just have to be very careful with the kind of posts that you do. And honestly, my huge tip for writing posts that actually go viral is go to your subreddit of choice. Maybe that's our ChatGPT or something else, but go where your audience is. Don't focus on where your fellow freelancers or hustlers are because they're all looking to sell and you're not going to sell to each other. That's just like, it's not a thing. But
Okay.
go to where your audience is, go to the sorted by most popular of all time, look at those top posts and formulate your post about your company, your startup, your project, or whatever. Do it in the same formulation. What you can do is you can take a screenshot of that, put it in GPT, and ask it to create a couple of posts in the same style, but with your own project ideas. And those formulas work really, really well. You might not get like viral top page, like first page or whatever, but it at least tells you that people actually really like that format, and it's likely to work a lot better than if you try to use your own brain and guess what the market actually wants.
Okay, so it sounded like a two-pronged attack. One was the like burner accounts commenting on any headshot related thread, and with the expectation, yeah, it's probably going to get shut down, it's probably going to get banned. But
Yes.
a few people might see it, a few people might click and buy before that happens. And then the second prong of the attack is a little more of a concerted effort on creating your own
Mm,
threads, your own posts
yes.
about the founding story of the business and what's going on in there. Am I hearing that correctly?
Well, the second definitely yes. The first, I do not recommend that because it used to work. It will not work anymore. You'll spend a
All right.
lot of time and you'll be very frustrated.
Okay.
But another, like a third one that I will add is that if you have an Ahrefs, if you have an Ahrefs account or a SEMrush account, and they're a bit expensive, they're like SEO data banks. They cost like $100 a month. SEMrush has 7 days for free, so you can always try that out. But if you go to Ahrefs, you go to Site Explorer, and you go to reddit.com, you can actually sort by the most popular posts. So on these data banks, you can see which posts of Reddit get the most traffic, and then you can search by keyword. So let's say that you are a company that sells Canva templates. You can go to reddit.com site explorer in Ahrefs, then you can type in Canva templates, and then you can see all the top posts that rank for the keyword Canva templates on Ahrefs. And you can go and you can comment your own product in there. And so that's a huge amount of information that you get through these data banks that you otherwise really cannot get. Or you are stuck Googling things and then clicking on 50 different tabs to kind of comment and hope that you can still get traffic that way. And those two methods are like the biggest hacks that I can think of that I have thought of for really effectively doing Reddit marketing.
Okay. Yeah, that's helpful versus combing through individual subreddits and doing this
Yeah,
manually.
I've
There's
done
another
that.
way. There's a tool that'll help you with that. And there is a lower tier Ahrefs plan. This is ahrefs.com. I'm on like a $30 a month
Mhm.
starter plan or something. I don't know if they advertise that or I had to like threaten to quit, and they're like, "Hey, stick around, come,
Of
get this
course.
lower price plan." Um, but no, it is cool to see some of the data that's in there. Okay, so and using that to structure your own post, was there a post or two that ended up taking off and getting some traction, getting noticed within the Reddit community for you?
We had a couple of from like pages about people wanting to get into like professional photography that did really, really well, and they did make a dent. But ultimately, our like main users were not coming from Reddit. The biggest two drivers for us were really about SEO and affiliate SEO. Our affiliate program is a huge reason why we were able to sell better because we had a affiliate program that basically gave our affiliate ambassadors 30% of every sale. So what would happen is that people would make these reviews about the multiverse AI versus other headshots. They would make listicles that were like the best AI headshot generators,
Okay.
and they would put affiliate links for every single one of those. I think like our best paid affiliate writer was making about $10,000 a month in just sales, right? So that means that we were paying them 10,000, but they were driving $30,000 of revenue to our business. And so that was huge because basically as a business, we didn't have to prepay them, we post-pay them. And for the affiliate writer, they were doing really great revenue just from writing SEO articles about businesses like ours.
Yeah, this is definitely a business that a lot of listeners will be familiar with, creating this company versus this company type of
Yes.
content, or the multiverse review, how it actually
Yeah.
works. Is it worth it? The like you said, the best headshot generators. Here's our top five or something. That type of content, and having that rank well. And with and by the way, here's my affiliate link. This is my top
Yeah.
pick.
Yes.
And it's all performance based. So
Yeah.
you say, well, this is the
Well,
cost of customer acquisition that we're comfortable paying. Let's go to town.
on one end, it is conversion based, but then on the other, we would also do outreach. So you would continuously be scanning for like our top keywords and then seeing, oh, are we mentioned in this listicle? Are we not mentioned in this listicle? If we're not mentioned, we're going to reach out and ask them like, hey, can you include us in? And then sometimes if they ranked really well, they would respond back to us with a fee, right? They would be like, oh, if you want to be the number one or the number two, it's $5,000 for like 1 month or 2 months. And if you're the brand and you're doing kind of the calculations of, oh, we know how much traffic they're getting on this page and we know what our conversion rate is, and conversion rates from affiliates are super high. Our affiliate conversion rate was 12% on our homepage. So that was crazy. So usually the conversion rate from SEO for us, it was still quite high. It was like 5% because we focused on like very bottom of funnel content. But
Yeah.
really through affiliates, it was almost triple that. So it was super, super high. And we would pay that $5,000.
Okay.
I don't think we ever paid 5,000. I think that was like a bit steep. But there were definitely like very high sums being quoted by some bloggers who did really great affiliate articles. And sometimes they would even reach out to the brand being like, hey, we have a number one position for this keyword. Would you be interested in, renting a top position for
Dang.
X
Is that how
amount
the
of
game is played now? Shoot, I've been
I'm not
doing it
gonna
wrong.
say if I agree or not agree with that, but it definitely is something that I've seen and that has happened. And on the brand side, sometimes it makes a lot of sense because you're basically saying that like it's basically an ad placement at that
Yeah.
point. If you're the number one article for best AI headshot generator, a keyword that is super high conversion and is driving like an insane amount of clicks every single month, whoever is out there owning that top position, I can guarantee you that they're doing really, really well.
Yeah, but going out proactively recruiting
Yeah,
these potential affiliate partners, because it's not just set it and forget it. What was the
yeah.
tech, or what was the tracking software that you're using for that?
Rewardful. And I think they're really popular in this space. Rewardful is the easiest to set up affiliate program that I've ever used. In my current like agency business that I run, where I also help clients to set up affiliate programs, I generally recommend Rewardful, just because it's so easy to set up.
Anything on the YouTube front? We're trying to recruit people who are reviewing similar products on YouTube. Oh, I can find some creators over here too to be affiliates for me.
YouTube was really hard for us to get into. I think YouTube and like content creators, like non-bloggers in general, like TikTok people or like Instagram influencers, they quote us crazy prices that we were just not able to get to. And so we almost never did any of those partnerships. We did some like very, very small ones. But the YouTubers that we had the most success with were affiliate bloggers who then expanded into YouTube. And a lot of the time, those YouTube videos were also very like SEO optimized. So it wasn't really about subscriber count of those YouTube influencers. It was really like SEO first YouTube, where, a lot of like even now in like AI overviews, you're always being surfaced. Same thing with like ranking for top keywords. If you're being surfaced in YouTube, it's almost better than having your own content. But we wouldn't be doing a lot of active outreach knowing that influencer partnerships are extremely expensive. And honestly, my hot take is that they don't really work that well for brands unless there is a very clear incentive on the influencer side. And I think now is very different from like 10 years ago where, it used to be that there were so little information about the whole industry. So brands could easily approach YouTubers for, oh, hey, would you be interested in this? We'll give you a free product or a free license. But now
Yeah.
creators are very strict, and I think as they should be because it does take a lot of energy and of course labor to like create content like that. But it's very hard to do outreach asking people, would you be interested because we're going to give you a great affiliate program. they're just not gonna take that a lot of the
You
time,
want to get paid up front these days.
yeah, like
Okay,
they're like, what's in it for me, so
fair.
not really happening as much.
Did
But yeah,
you,
bigger
how did
than
you think about the margin? So the price on the
yeah,
website today
yes,
is $29 for this
yes,
headshot
and it was.
package. Has it been consistent at that rate?
No, actually, when we just launched, we were at $9. I think partially when you start as a business owner, you don't really believe that people are going to buy your product. But then as you get more comfortable in that over time, you do feel more comfortable increasing those prices and feeling secure that people are getting that value out of it. So we
Yeah.
kind of creeped our way up to 29. And we saw absolutely no change in our conversion rate. And I honestly think at this point, we could have even charged a lot more. Like we have some competitors who go up to like $60 and they have almost an exact same product. And so a lot of the time what you see in that kind of like pricing strategy is positioning, right? So who are you actually targeting with your product? If you're going to go to the lower end of the market, you're again looking at like a sub $15 product. But if you go higher end, you actually get users a lot of the time who actually want that product as well. So sometimes your difference between like charging $50 or $500 for something is just your audience, is not necessarily your product and doesn't necessarily imply product changes. And we see that a lot in SaaS, to be honest. With headshots, you're really competing with like non-AI headshots, which can cost up to like $300 and half your day. So ultimately, that's still a really great deal.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up as a potential anchoring point. It's like, yeah, you could
Yes.
do this from the comfort of your home, or you could get a couple different outfits together. You could book a photographer. It's gonna be a couple $100 or more. What's it cost you to generate these things? Like, you happy with the margins? I mean, obviously, if you tripled
Yes.
prices, then things are looking a lot better. But what was going on there?
The margins have changed a bit over time. Part of that is because service providers increased their costs. But initially, our cost was about $2 and then $1 for Stripe fees, something like that. So even on like a $9 product, we only had like $3 cost. So that was still like
Yeah,
really, really good. Over time, our pricing did increase a lot, but our margin increased hugely. I think near the end, can't quote me on this, but I think we were looking around $4 or $5 in terms of cost, and then everything else was margin. So that made a huge difference. I'll also add that when you are growing like that, and when you have had more expertise, you've had bigger companies use your product. Like for us, we had companies like Walmart, McKinsey, Google, huge companies using our product,
yeah,
and we were able to share about that as well. So that really goes to like, oh hey, all of these companies are using it, it's only $29, why wouldn't we use them as well? And in that case, when you are pricing yourself at like $9, when you're pricing yourself too low, a certain client won't even pay attention because they don't think that a product that is $9 can actually be good value, right?
fair. Okay, so we talked about the Reddit strategy. We talked about the affiliate recruiting. What else was going on the marketing front?
We did a lot of SEO. SEO was really our like bread and butter. It's how most users were discovering us. For a while, I think for about like 4, 5, almost 6 months, we were the number one article for best AI headshot generator. And that was based on a listicle that I had written about these are the 5 best AI headshot generators. And guess which one was number one? It was Multiverse. Multiverse was number one. And so these listicles work insanely well. That drove a huge amount of users to us, and also drove some top media to us as well. Because ultimately, if you're like a journalist and you're doing research for an article, you're going to take a look. You're just going to go and Google potential companies that you can like review. And so that's how we got into like Rolling Stone magazine. We also got into Forbes. We got into a bunch of other media like Forbes. And so that was huge also for like our general recognition. And on the other end, being able to say, hey, we were all in all of these media, and again, increase our conversion rates. I will add as a note that actually chasing media or like chasing PR mentions like that, it works really well now if you want to help help you to rank on ChatGPT, but it doesn't actually drive that much sales to your platform from the media company itself. The reason is that these are not vetted leads. These are
Right.
people who are just reading the news or whatever. They see, oh, that's an interesting article. They may or may not click on that, but they're not going to say, oh, hey, I'm going to go buy that right now. That's really where, with SEO, with people searching for buy AI headshot generator or related keywords, they are ready to purchase. They are completely at the bottom of the funnel. With
Sure.
media, we really had almost not zero, but very close to zero sales. So that was a thing that we tried and it didn't really work that well.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. It's more like that social proof. Hey, we
Mhm.
got this mention in Rolling Stone and we were written up in Forbes, and it's a validation more than a traffic driver or a sales driver.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else on the SEO side that was proactive? Because it's like the SEO world for listicles like this, it seems like it's been taking a beating the last couple years, where it's like
Yeah.
we're just going to put the AI summary at the top, and maybe if you're cited in the AI summary because it's like a buyer intent type of keyword, then that's good. But it's
Yeah.
everything else is pushed farther and farther down the page.
It is pushed farther down the page. I would say if you're in the affiliate game right now, that is really, really tough. The one place that we haven't really seen so much of an impact is in like YouTube videos. So whenever your YouTube video is being surfaced in the AI overview, people will still click in on that and actually watch that video. Of course, generated text does not have that same thing. But then on the brand side, whenever you're trying to rank on ChatGPT, that is a complete different game because that is a huge opportunity. And so that a lot of that is about, the amount of mentions that you have. PR mentions there help a lot. And also, if you have a legacy of existing SEO content that is already that is already in the training data of LLMs like ChatGPT or Claude, you are much more likely to actually be recommended. But yeah, it's definitely still like very, very new and it's very hard to track. So most of the time when you are, yeah, I mean, it's impossible to track because most of the time GPT or AI overviews won't even link to the actual page. So what we see though is that branded searches are up a lot where, ChatGPT actually gives you the recommendation. You go and Google that company and then you click in.
Oh, okay. They're not going to link directly to you. We're not going to make it necessarily easy
Yes.
to follow
Yes.
their citation path,
Hmm.
but they'll mention the brand by name, and then okay,
Yeah.
then people okay, got it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually really helpful to do like a little bit of an audit about your brand. Make sure that, you ask ChatGPT what is the best solution for this kind of thing. And you want to be asking about a problem that your company solves. Then secondly, I really highly recommend for you to do an audit about what do people say about X being your company or your business, because you're going to see exactly where that is coming from. It's going to tell you what people think about you based on a couple of citations. And those citations are publicly available. So you can kind of see where ChatGPT is getting all of that information from. Sometimes that's actually your own blog, your own pages. And if anything is kind of not okay, you can go in and make those adjustments yourself.
What do you do if people are bad mouthing you online and you're like, well, I got a reputation management problem?
Wow. It depends where they're bad mouthing you, right? Like, and if it's something that you can actually do something about. So let's
Yeah.
say that that's like a blogger. I highly recommend that you reach out to them. If you, for example, like you change your product and maybe they did a review of you in the past, you added a feature, that feature can now be mentioned as well. Send them an email, be like, hey, I know in the past we didn't have this feature, but we do have it now. You'll see that, I think a lot of people are kind of scared of emailing blog owners or doing that kind of outreach. But a lot of the time, people are very used to this in the blog world and they don't mind that kind of inbound at all.
Yeah, it will help them keep their stuff up to date.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that's part of the the listening audit, asking the AI, well, what's my reputation like out there on the interwebs, and
Yeah.
hopefully you start to improve that over time.
Well, I think if you're scared of that, it's not necessarily that it's not happening. It's that maybe you don't want to know, which is like a different kind of thing, but it doesn't mean it's not happening, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, it's not even like usually it's not going to be that bad. I think you'll be like pleasantly surprised by how you can also find really great things that people are saying about your business. And so it can be a very positive experience.
The multiverse is one that lends itself to some kind of, social media guessing type of content where it's like, is this real or is this AI? I could see it.
Mm,
I could see it getting some traction on different platforms
yeah.
where you're showing almost the before and after of like what it came up with.
Before afters are like the bread and butter of the AI headshot industry. It is the number one driver of anything, of any sale, because a lot of our like path also was like word of mouth. So word of mouth, like seeing a friend of you posting their AI headshot on something like LinkedIn or Instagram is huge. It's huge if you actually know what that person looks like in real, because they're always going to post their best photo and they're going to say, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is an AI headshot." And you're going to look at that and you're going to say, "Oh my God, I can't believe that's an AI headshot." Because the realism is extreme at this point. I created a quiz about like, I think a year or so in, and this whole quiz was about it was called AI or not. And so you would just start the quiz and then you would see a photo and you had to guess AI or not AI. And nobody like passed this entire quiz without at least getting one wrong. And most people couldn't get more than like a 5 out of 10, because in a world where you have to guess if something's AI or not AI, you start becoming skeptical about everything. And so yeah.
Because I'm probably, and people listening are probably nodding. I'm like, I bet I could do better than that. I could pick
And
out
it
an
was
AI picture.
lovely, you know? I mean, that was such a fun thing because actually, you would put that quiz, you would submit your photos, right? Like the way it works is you have like 10 photos of yourself, you upload them, and then you have to wait like an hour or so before you get your 100 photos in your
Yeah.
inbox, your results. And so whenever you uploaded those photos, we would encourage you to go and take that quiz. And like you, everybody would be like, "Oh, I'm sure I can like tell the difference." And guess what? You cannot, because when it comes down to it, in 2025, a lot of people are taking photos of themselves and a lot of people are also editing photos of themselves. And so the
Sure.
difference between a photo that is edited and a photo that is AI generated becomes smaller and smaller, as both of them basically are going towards more artificial and less artificial. People very much like to say, "No, I can always tell when it's AI." I encourage you to go and take that quiz because I think it's very unlikely that you'll get a 10 out of 10. Less than 0.1% actually got a 10.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
it is
We'll
hard. Yeah.
we'll link up the quiz for sure. I like this call
I'll give you a link.
to make it visual in a
Yeah.
visual service or visual business like this. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And so the challenges for whatever business you're in is like how can you find the equivalent of those before and after type of pictures? Were you doing anything to proactively like encourage or incentivize people to share those new headshots on LinkedIn after they got them back and say, "Wow, look at what the multiverse generated for me."
Yeah, we would. If you shared your results, we would give you an additional 50 headshots free of charge. But that was a very manual process. You basically had to email us or we're just like see it in monitoring and then we DM you about what your username was. And then we would send you so what your link was and then we would give you those extra headshots. I think a really like tough lesson that we learned was don't try to automate things if they are too hard to automate. We spent so much time trying to automate it that it would have been so much faster if we hadn't tried and if we just like proceeded with manually doing everything. So it's like find the balance between like creating systems and just doing things that don't scale sometimes.
Fair, yeah. Find yourself a virtual assistant or two and just handle that process.
Yeah. I'm personally prone to trying to over systematize everything and it's not always to my benefit.
Talk to me about the transition from trying to actively grow and run this thing to now saying, well, maybe now's the right time to find a buyer, to hand it over to somebody else, to take it to the next level, or to start working on other projects. What's going through your head at this point and saying, I've taken it this as far as I can go, and I would love to cash out.
There were a couple of things at play. The first was that as co-founders, we were all looking to go our own path and pursue different projects. For me, that was an AI SEO project that I really wanted to pursue. And secondly, within a very fast changing field such as AI photography, you never know what's going to shift in the industry and make it very difficult for you to continue selling your product. And so when we started looking for buyers, that actually coincided with the time that ChatGPT's image generator had just come out, the latest version. And so a lot of people are talking about, oh, you can just upload a photo of yourself and then you get like an AI headshot out of that. The results were not there when we tested. You couldn't really get the same kind of output from it,
Yeah,
but it was close enough that we got kind of, I wouldn't say nervous, but we were open to the opportunity of having an actual sale, right? So I think within these kind of like very, cutting edge companies, if you will, when you are making something that you can easily be replaced by ChatGPT and you have a potential for an exit, that was super, super attractive to us. So for us, that path, it was super, super helpful to have Flippa, where we listed our business and then we were able to find a seller very quickly. So that was really, really lucky, I think. I was personally quite not anxious, but I definitely kept in mind that, our business could be completely destroyed going to zero from one day to another if GPT or somebody else would actually bring out a free AI headshot generator. I
yeah,
say this with a couple of like caveats because for example TikTok I believe has an AI headshot generator embedded in and it didn't touch any of our business, right? And so there are a couple of these things where even if ChatGPT had built out an entire AI headshot generator, it probably wouldn't have decimated us one day to another, but it would have definitely stalled our growth. Firstly,
mm,
and secondly, we were a one-time purchase product, right? So it's not that we had existing MRR to build off that could stay consistent over time. If
yeah.
nobody
How
was
did you
buying,
position it then to potential buyers? Because it's like there's no recurring revenue here. It's like we have a track record of
yeah,
consistent revenue, sure, and like we
yeah,
we have these SEO assets that continue to
yeah,
drive sales, and we've built up this this reputation in the industry. But we're starting from scratch every month, and it's like, well, how do you build up? Like, oh, the revenue's still going to be there after you take
yeah.
over.
Well, we definitely don't say that. I would say like, but it's a really good question. And so you kind of want to think about the like margin business from top to bottom. Let's say at the top you have like offline businesses, you have like brick and mortar and like offline employees and all of that. And for them, a digital product like ours is something that is like insanely great, right? And so you take it like a little step further. And in the end, we ended up selling to an e-commerce player who was used to having offline inventory, to having a lot less margin and dealing with a lot more logistics. And so that was a really great way for us to be positioned as well because this e-commerce player was basically saying, we are really great at doing paid advertising and we were horrible at doing paid advertising. We never really did it. They were great at doing paid advertising. They wanted to move away from selling physical products, moving away from things like logistics. And here we were, a completely digital product that we had never tried to do anything with ads and had no experience with it. So there was a really high potential for them to be able to push those ads and also not have to deal with logistics. So that was a huge part of that upside.
Yeah, they've got some margin to play with, probably much more so than a physical product business here,
Yes.
where yeah, shoot, we can if we know the paid ads game, we know the paid traffic game,
Exactly.
we could probably apply this to another business.
Mhm. Yeah, I think if we, had been talking to another kind of like SaaS business that had been a recurring revenue business, it would have been completely different because they probably would not have been as interested in buying a company that was like a one-time purchase product. But again, kind of looking at that like pyramid of, what kind of margins exist, what kind of business models exist, your business model could be super interesting to another company and you could have absolutely no idea about it. So the big learning for us with Flippa really was that you never know who your buyer might end up being. And I definitely could not have predicted that he would have been an e-commerce player. So you never know.
Yeah, I would have
That's really
expected
odd.
yeah, a photography service or another AI headshot type of company where we can roll this under our own
Yeah.
umbrella. Like there's yeah, that wasn't really on my radar either. But interesting when you put it up on a marketplace, it gets a lot of exposure, and you never know who's going to find it.
Yeah, and we ended up talking to a couple of other potential buyers as well. I had no idea what to expect the first time that I was talking to a buyer. I did prep with Flippa M&A support person, and they were amazing. That was super, super helpful. But outside of that, that first kind of conversation was really about like, oh, I need to understand the narrative of our business so much better, as well as things like the financials, understanding the P&L. And I highly recommend people to just start super early with all of your admin and really understand the financials behind your business and all the potential for growth that there is. And then having those conversations with potential buyers because you will just get so much further than I did my first couple of calls.
Fair, fair. One thing that I did want to circle back on was this transition from one-off sales, B2C, to selling thousands of headshots all at once through corporate contacts, enterprise clients. Were you proactively pitching, is it like the PR department? Like, hey, when was the last time you updated everybody's headshots for the website or something? Like, how did those bigger ticket sales come about?
I wish that I had done that and that it had worked. It definitely, so we actually try to do like email outreach. And I would do the thing where I go to Apollo and I get a bunch of emails from like our target demographic, which was actually head of marketing. And I would email them, and we got very little responses on items like that. And so, what helped a lot more was again SEO, looking at terms related to team headshots, positioning ourselves as great for remote teams, right? Because our product was perfect for remote teams. If you're a remote team, how are you going to get headshots of your entire team where actually the background is similar and they're wearing the same kind of outfit, or at least the photos are in the same style? The fact that it's completely impossible. You you just cannot. You can send a photographer to different cities around the world. You ideally don't take time during an offsite because it's going to take you like half a day of like very valuable time where you're flying out like 20 to 50 people to one city for like 4 days. And then you're going to take half a day out of that to take photos. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
What's worse is when you onboard a new person, they're not going to get the same photo. It's going to get really awkward on your meet the team, on your landing page. It's going to be a completely different kind of background. Again, there's no clear solution to this. And so with AI headshots for remote teams, that is a perfect solution. You can get new team members onboarded. You just send them an invite link to Multiverse AI, and that's how they can actually get their own headshot without it needing to be different or a different background. So in terms of that, like our positioning on SEO is super important. Having things like samples and kind of mini case studies super helpful. I also think that tapping into your personal network and asking people who are business owners, maybe giving, a company like 10 free headshots, asking them to post about it on LinkedIn are very, very powerful strategies because that kind of word of mouth recommendation is huge for conversion rates. It's just really something that time and time converts so well.
Yeah, these people at these companies know people at other similar companies, and
Exactly.
the circles run pretty tightly together, I think.
Yeah, they really do.
We've got the founder Tanya YouTube channel. You've got rankingonai.com, the new AI powered SEO agency. What's next for you? What's got you excited these days?
It's really just kind of AI, SEO, and GEO. I think it's on a
GEO,
whole.
this is the new acronym.
This is a new acronym. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest.
What is it? Generative? What does it
Generative
even stand?
generative engine optimization.
Okay.
And GEO is really about how can you get your business to recommend how can you get ChatGPT to recommend your business and not your competitors, right? And so this is, in my opinion, the most exciting field that there is right now within marketing, because you're really looking at, first of all, how does AI work, and you're merging that with how does SEO work. And so those are literally my two like favorite things, and for them to coexist in one kind of channel, I think is super exciting. You're
Where do you
seeing
think they diverge? Because it seems like if you rank well in Google, like that's where ChatGPT is pulling a lot of this stuff from. It feels like. So
it
is there
definitely is.
a different path for GEO, or is it just a new
Yeah,
name to an old thing?
there's a lot of overlap. So a lot of the overlap actually exists because ChatGPT now in a lot of its searches is using the Google Search API. They're using a third-party API called SERP API that is pulling Google searches and then surfacing them as citations in ChatGPT. But ChatGPT doesn't always do searches. A lot of the time, what it does, it sticks to its old training data. And that can be like 6 months ago or maybe even like a year ago, depending on where the cutoff is. And if you are in that database, if you are mentioned a lot, you will probably surface. But ChatGPT is really about mentions. It's not about ranking factors. And what's more, ChatGPT is probabilistic, which is an annoyingly complicated term to just say that you might get mentioned one time and not mentioned the other time. If you ask what are the three best podcasts for side hustles, I mean, probably every time you will say Side Hustle Nation, but it's going to give you three completely different answers if you ask three times, because AI never gives you the exact same answer. And so, same thing with GPT. Sometimes it's going to surface you and sometimes it's not. A lot of that is then you trying as a business to become the default, part of the default mentions. You want to aim to be mentioned 8 times out of 10, not 10 times out of 10. And a lot of that, again, you're talking about a volume of mentions, right? So let's say that you are super popular with Reddit users, and Reddit is the most cited domain in ChatGPT, by far double that of the second most cited. That's
Okay.
from like Ahrefs top 100 domain research. And so if Reddit mentions you 100,000 times, but you don't even have a single blog post, you're actually still going to be cited, or you're still going to be mentioned by ChatGPT. Whereas that's very different with Google, right? You could be mentioned 100,000 times in Reddit, 0 times on any other page, and you might not surface as the best or like as the top keyword for your actual Google search.
Okay. So that's something that you can proactively do is try and build up your body of press mentions, your media mentions, and proactively build up your Reddit reputation and citations there to feed into this new GEO world.
Yes, absolutely. You basically want to make training data for you want to make training data for your own business, right? So think about what is your user audience actually searching, or what are they prompting ChatGPT for? If you can guess the exact prompt that your audience is searching for and then answer that in your own blog post that is formulated as an FAQ, you're like 10 steps ahead already of everybody else. And so that FAQ type content is something that is hugely beneficial, because ChatGPT basically is looking for questions that are being asked on the web. And if they are similar to the prompt, it's going to surface that answer in a way that is very similar. It's probably going to paraphrase it.
That sounds like a good hack. would you, not to get too technical, like would you put that as like a separate, it's a separate page, a separate post? Would you have like a list of FAQs like all on one page, like different variations?
Your probability still matters a lot, right? So like ideally it's in like a heading type format. A huge thing that I recommend a lot of my clients, and I have clients who are doing anywhere between $2 million revenue to $2 billion revenue a year, so really big companies.
Yeah.
I always recommend them to have a great features page. And ideally, that's, a lot of the time it's very hard for like technical reasons to create your features page in a way that it's like SEO friendly. So do a blog post where you're talking about all the potential use cases of your actual product in an FAQ format, and you're going to do really so much better on ChatGPT. A big part of that is also that a lot of the time when people do their own brand audit, and they're asking about like a feature of your product, or does your product do this or does it do that, and ChatGPT says no, it doesn't do that, is because you're not explicitly sharing that on your own website, or you're not explicitly sharing that in your features page. ChatGPT isn't really good at reasoning. If you're not saying it verbatim, it'll be very hard for it to pick it up.
Okay. No, this is great, and I imagine there is a lot more. So make sure to follow Tanya on YouTube at Founder Tanya over there. We'll link up her LinkedIn as well. RankingOnAI.com is the new site, the new project. So we'll link that up too. Tanya, this has been awesome. I'm taking a ton of notes, lots of things for product builders on the affiliate side, on the SEO side, on the GEO side. Let's wrap this thing up with your number one tip for Side Hustle Nation.
Don't give up. Success is just failure to failure without losing any kind of enthusiasm, I think is the biggest thing I've learned.
Well, and some successes sprinkled in there along the way, it sounds like. So very good. Don't give up. We've got a couple takeaways from me before we wrap. Number one is looking for those low-cost marketing channels that can scale. Really like the SEO-driven focus here. Headshots for remote teams, best AI headshot generator, right? Like these are long tail, kind of high buyer intent type of keywords. And then the other thing, like if you don't have a recurring revenue business, then you're going to need recurring sources of traffic, right? And so here's a one-off purchase business, but we had consistent sources of traffic, which made it attractive to potential buyers down the road. And then it's telling that story, telling those the features and benefits, both for the one-off customer and then the 1,000-person company customer. It's like, oh, you want consistency behind the background? Yeah, we can do that. And then for the buyer, the ultimate buyer of the business, well, it's like, it's a lot better margins than your physical product business. And by the way, paid ads, untapped, right? You're going to be able to take this thing, take the keys, and run with it. So telling that story to both kinds of buyers in the business. Now we did an episode earlier this summer on some AI-powered product ideas that you might be able to build. That was number 689 in your feed with Pete McPherson. Beyond that, I do send my best side hustle ideas and updates to 125,000 people every week. If you would like to get that too, all you got to do is go to sidehustlenation.com/join and you'll be on the list. Big thanks to Tanya for sharing her insight. Big thanks to our sponsors for helping make this content free for everyone. Sidehustlenation.com/deals is where to go to find all the latest offers from our sponsors in one place. Thank you for supporting the advertisers that support the show. That's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're finding value in the show, the greatest compliment is to share it with a friend. So fire off that text message. Let them know. Check this out. Until next time, let's go out there and make something happen. And I'll catch you in the next edition of The Side Hustle Show. Hustle on.